Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another small block ship that features a bunch of moving parts as well as a very unique prisoner transport system at the back. This is the Anvil Hawk SC, which is this lovely thing sitting right behind me. So as it currently is in its landing mode. If it wants to get into the cockpit, we can then press a button and it'll switch to flight mode. So to hide all of that, pressing number 3. I'll then fold the wings all the way down, our landing legs will retract up into the ship, and we'll be ready to fly around. If I just look at it from the front and just press that again, there we go. Anyway, dropping down to the ground, locking myself in place, popping out the seat, pressing F10 and finding the spawn menu, the Anvil Hawk is 1,517 small blocks using the Warfare 2 Heavy Industry and Wasteland DLC packs. We've got nice lot of information about it on the Steam Workshop page, stating it's got no mods, no scripts, and all the important stuff about the vehicle. So simply give this a thumbs up, move around to the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, then we'll test it out for a bit, load up a passenger into the prisoner transport, and then we'll go and throw it at the nearby enemy pirates. So at the very front, this is what we get for the Anvil Hawk SC. So we can see yourselves a wasteland spotlight to light up the darkness with one hell of a lot of light and dark grey blocks making up the main body of the ship. We've got a fighter cockpit to fly this thing around, and down here we can see a couple of hydrogen thrusters to help this thing stop. We also got 2 rocket launchers, which is one of 2 types of weapons we've got on this vehicle. The other weapon is Gatling guns we can just about see in the background on that folding part behind our cockpit. There is our landing legs made out of some pistons and magnetic plates. If we were to move around onto the side, this is our wing in standby mode. So it comes all the way across over to this section where we've got ourselves a hinge and a bunch of cylindrical columns. That simply comes up onto the second section of our wings, and all the way up to the top we've got ourselves a red blinking light on this side with another one on this side. If we were to ignore the wing for the moment and just look in this section, we've got ourselves a large hydrogen thruster to push ourselves around. That's a clear view at our Gatling gun on the top section of that moving section, and we can see a nice lot of blockwork going around our fighter cockpit. If we were to move around and past this section towards the very back, that connector is what's going to be connecting on our prisoner transport, which is this long section at the back. So this is where we're going to load up any old person you want, even a passenger if you wanted to, and then just take them from one place to another. At the very back, we've got ourselves a button, which is how we're going to get our prisoner in and out. That'll simply lift up that hinge and allow you to get all the way in to this cryopod right here. As for the rest of the prisoner transport section, we've got one hell of a lot of hydrogen tanks, and everything else just to keep them alive while being transported. And if we were to come all the way past that and look at the rear of the actual vehicle itself, we can see some great use of our heat vent. We got our large hydrogen thrusters to push us around. We can also see one hell of a lot of hydrogen thrusters to keep us off the ground. And then moving all the way down and underneath, that is what we get. So we do have an ore detector on here just in case we want to go out and scout ore patches. There is the bottom of our moving section with the 2 other Gatling guns. We can see some great use of our piston heads, as well as the cargo container to store our ammunition to fire our guns. If we come all the way up and start to look down past our prisoner transport, that is all we can see. So it's a very clean design overall, and does look great with how it's all been set up. So now what I can do is just grab hold of my character, we come back into the cockpit, we'll take this off, and we'll play around with some of the controls. All the way over here and bringing up the HUD, these are the only controls we get for this vehicle. So pressing number 3 means we've seen that already, that's simply going to be to take this thing off. Our big wings fold down, the section at the back will fold to a more diagonal shape, and we're ready to go. Number 1 is going to be to fire all 4 of our Gatling guns all together, and number 2 is going to be for our rocket launchers to fire them both together as well. If you really want to, you could slap on a programmable block on this and use the salvo script, but that's only if you're ammo conscious or want it to fire on a 1-2-1-2 pattern. Number 3 is, as you saw, it's our transformation process where we press that and go into our landing form, and then we can press it again to take off. Number 4 is a button that I do not know what it's meant to be, but number 5 is going to be to turn off our hydrogen thrusters all the way around the ship. Number 8 and number 9 is how we're going to refuel this vehicle, where if we want to keep this thing stable, find the free camera once again and come all the way up and underneath it, we'll see we've got ourselves a unfinished hinge, or even part of a hinge, where we can connect this up to a base, connect this up to a refueling ship, we can use our cockpit button to lock it in place, transfer everything we need, then disconnect it. It saves you having to use the big bulky connector block, and it's just a useful thing to have. Back into the cockpit view and coming over to tab number 2, this is going to be for our prisoner transport at the back, where we simply press that, and away it goes. It's simply held on by a connector, and a couple of merge blocks so it is nice and securely attached onto the vehicle. And we can just fly around and drive it like this if we wanted to. If I keep it stable once again and bring the camera all the way up and look down, that's what that looks like without the prisoner section. So it looks very, very agile with its design, very sleek with those sort of pylons coming out the back, then looking all the way down and underneath it. There we go. And that's for the prisoner transport, that is just where it sits. It will be quite hard to reattach that, so I might just have to spawn in a brand new one. But that is that for the controls for the Anvil Hawk SC. So if we were to come back over to Terminal 1 and move forwards, this is the speed we get without our prisoner transport on the back, so we are nice and fast for a small fighter. Coming to a stop, we are just about as fast, there's no need to do a 180, but we do have plenty of gyroscope control, so if we did need to for whatever reason, we can. Moving left, and moving right, we're a lot slower than forwards and backwards, but still perfectly serviceable. Moving down is going to be helped by gravity and those thrusters. And then moving up, that felt a little bit dangerous moving down at high speeds, but we do have plenty of speed to pull us up in an emergency. And as you saw from the 180, we've got plenty of control on our gyroscopes. It has no weight whatsoever. But let's just do hop out of this, let's say just unpower that, come out of there. There we go, just spawn in a brand new one. There we go. And do that once again with our prisoner transport on, we are suddenly a lot heavier. And it's so much more heavier that it starts to drag around and acts like a, sort of like a small frigate. We'll just come back down to the ground and I'll load up a passenger and we'll go and say hello to the space pirates by just yeeting the prisoner at their base. So all the way down onto the ground, hiding all the signals once again, we can press number 3, that'll just come into the landing sequence. And we go nice and slowly all the way down. And that'll do. I can now hop out of here, come into this menu, find the replay tool, there we go, and a character. And now we can switch over to them and load them up into the back. So all the way around, pressing the button, there we go, that will now open up, we now crouch all the way down and just sort of slot ourselves in place. Getting into that, pressing number 6, I can now come all the way back around with my main character and just lock that person in place. There we go, there's no escaping out of that, and it should be nice and secure as we fly over to the pirate base. So back into this, we can now press number 3, which will then undo the parking brake. And we now fly up. I have no idea where my hotbar has just gone. That's a very odd bug. I've never encountered that at all in Space Engineers, and I've got quite a few hours in this. But how about that? I can still switch to all the weapons, but yeah, that is very strange. Anyway, bringing up the HUD and finding the space pirates, we've got an ore handling facility, or we can go to the district headquarters. I think for this, we're just going to go for the ore handling facility because it's a lot closer, and that'll be that for this vehicle. Here we go, we're now going to fly all the way towards it, and away goes the passenger. That's going to be a little bit bad. Actually, no, that was perfect. I went straight into the window, and there we go with that. Oh god, there goes a rocket launcher. Can I just dodge out of this? Let's just tilt ourselves all the way. And we'll just go and fly all the way around. You know what? Let's actually return fire with our rockets. There we go. Oh, that was a bad hit into the front there. Can we just move all the way around, move all the way up? There's their Gatling gun. That's going to be bad news for me. And we're getting battered around quite a lot. It would have been handy to have a camera on this. In fact, we'll just go slam ourselves straight into that, make sure that passenger is nice and dead. And there we go with the Anvil Hawk. So it's a fantastic little ship if you are looking for something with folding wings to play with in your world. It's got a funny little transportation thing at the back there if you want to use it. And you can always use it just to pick up your friends and throw them at your enemies. So there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. Highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.